Okay, so today we're going to be doing the steering box or steering gear, whatever you want to call it, in the 91 GMC C3500. Long story short, changed all the front end parts on this thing and still has a sloppy steering. And it is the steering wheel. I can move the steering wheel, but the tires are not responding. Kind of playing catch up on the steering, and I hate that. I'm not going to drive it like that. So we're going to replace the steering gear, steering box. Oh, and it's down here. There it is right there. You're going to have two lines going into that. They're going to have to be unhooked. Also, there is a plastic shield right there. I believe that just is hooked onto one of the lines. It just needs to be unclipped, slid back. And then I'll show you once we get to that point what is holding the shaft onto the steering box. So once that big plastic shield is slid back, there is the bolt right there. You gotta loosen that up. I think you gotta take it out. Then you can slide the shaft that goes to the steering wheel. You can slide that back off of the steering box. Okay, so I've got one line loose here. The other one has decided to be very, very difficult. 18 millimeters what I'm using to take these off. Wish I had a line wrench. We don't have 18, we got 19 and 20 I think, but we don't have 18, so just trying to get these lines off. Okay, so with the lines out of the way, you can now actually get to the bolt there. And you can see there's splines. And that thing is squeezed on to the steering box and those splines. 11 millimeters the size. There's the bolt. Looks like it's got some sort of a thread locker on it. So I can't get it all the way off the box right from up here. It won't come off. So I'm going to pull the box from the bottom anyway and lift it up on the hoist. And we'll pull it out from the bottom. It's loose enough. I think it'll come. Okay, so down below here, you're going to have to take your pitman arm off. That's the big nut. And pull your arm off. I think I'm going to try to do it that way without unhooking the steering. We'll see how that works. You can actually see the coupler better down here. Probably can get it off and on better from down here. And then of course you got 3 mounting bolts that hold this thing on the box right there. 1, 2, 3. And this thing should slide out. So I'm going to get those off. And we're going to try to get it out. Okay, so the box is out. Everything went pretty well. I did end up taking the pitman arm completely off. I just stuck that on, so I didn't want to ruin that foam seal they give you, or foam boot. But I was able to just kind of tap on it and get it out a different way besides using a pickle fork. So I got it out. I probably need new lines, but I'm guessing them I'm going to have to be ordered too. Maybe they have them, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm praying and hoping that I get a good box. I know you have a heck of a time. A lot of people have a heck of a time getting a box that don't leak and they already got slop in it right from the rebuilder. So I'm hoping and praying at this point. There's the box right here. I just kind of cleaned it up, dunked it in the parts washer so I ain't taking in a total greasy mess. But that is it. I'm guessing 190,000 miles on this thing. And she's got some slop in the wheel, so we'll get a rebuilt one in there. So here's a new box. It's a rebuilt. from CarQuest/Advance. A couple of things I've learned from installing these over the years is they put this thick black paint all over everything. I just take a wire wheel, clean off the pitman arm mount here and the mount where the steering shaft is going to go on, kind of clean all these deals out so it slides on easier. Another thing I like to do is to pre-install the bolts. Run the bolts in there because again they use this thick paint and you want to be able to thread it in by hand at least a little bit when you first install it so you don't cross thread these. Also, that's going to allow you to check the threads to make sure the previous person didn't cross thread these threads, so you can actually get it installed. And other than that, it's ready to go back in. So when I got the box, I wasn't able to get any new hoses because they didn't have them in stock. So I don't have time to wait for new ones. So what I've done is I've cleaned up my old ones. They were kind of moving really hard, but I freed them up, put some blaster, worked them back and forth. So they move by finger movement now. So I'm gonna get those cleaned up, wiped down, put a little blaster on my steering shaft there so the splines slide in a little better. And probably gonna clean up this frame a little bit quickly. And we're gonna get this box back up in there. So there it is installed. Main mounting bolts are installed. I gotta tighten down my pitman arm, gotta retorque the steering linkage here. I got my steering shaft back onto the steering box, and remember the pitman arm has got splines and there's only a few ways it will go on. Remember I started this out with the wheel straight, steering wheel straight, so installed it. I'm assuming the box has been clocked straight. I'll know in a little bit here once I turn it, but install it the same way it came out. And again, the steering shaft is splined too, and there's also a flat part, so that can only go on one way. And like I said, it's easier to do it under here, get a pry bar, kind of pry it on. So once I get this stuff tightened down here, I'm going to drop her down. We're going to hook up the new lines. New lines come with new O-rings. You want to use them, or the box comes with new O-rings. The lines are old, but I'm going to install them, and we'll be close to finishing this job up. Okay, so I got everything tightened down, all the lines back in place. Got my shield back in place, everything's torqued down, everything's tight. Now I get to put the fluid back into the power steering pump. The power steering pump's empty right now, so I got to fill it back up. Steering box is empty, so you got to fill that back up, and then whatever else drained out. So what I like to do is I fill it up and then I fire the truck up for a second, let it suck it down, refill the pump, do that a couple times, maybe 3 times. And then you're going to want to turn the steering wheel a little bit. And again, don't go too much. You don't want to run this pump dry. And then I'll just continue doing that little by little until my level is what it needs to be in the pump. So I'm going to do that and get this thing out, take it for a test drive, and see what I have. Okay, so I got the system bled out. I don't see any leaks. We're good to go for a test drive, see how it feels. Okay, quick drive with the new steering box, and we're going in the right direction. It's much better steering. It's actually, the steering's a lot lighter, so I'm pretty happy with that. But we still got a little bit of play, and I think I know what that is. That's the intermediate shaft that connects the steering box to the steering column. So I'm going to go ahead and order one of those and get that in there before I get an alignment. Definitely needs an alignment, you can feel that. But I'm going to replace that shaft. It's got a piece of rubber on there with some rivets. I want to get that replaced before I go to the alignment shop. So I'm going to get that ordered. Hopefully it'll be in here soon. It shouldn't be that hard to take apart. I think 2 bolts and it should slide out and get the new one in. So very happy with the new steering box so far. It's only been a day, but definitely am happy with that install. Will it last? Will it start leaking? Time will tell, I guess. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one.